Hey slabs and zoners, this video is going to involve some gripes, and I might be throwing some ideas out there too at the same time, so bear with me. So I've been watching a lot of S.T.A.L.K.E.R streams on Twitch. Anomaly has become exceedingly popular, and I've noticed different versions have different tweaks. Also, Lost Alpha, though not nearly as popular as Anomaly, does have a fan base and representation on Twitch. But I've noticed that more recent versions of Anomaly, by the way, this one is ye old version 1.3/3. Why haven't I upgraded? Well, because newer versions, for whatever reason, have done away with the spawn menu. I know there's that debug thing you can do, but having a spawn menu is just more convenient. And yes, I know some people assume that having a spawn menu lets you cheat, but that's really not its ideal usage. Its ideal usage is as a means of creating zone sportsmanship challenges. You know, playing a game, choose your own adventure style. And if you're one of my regulars, you already know exactly what I mean by that. Anyway, that's not really what my gripe is about. My gripe is about this. This is correct representation right here. The way you're supposed to grip GP-25 while firing the host rifle. Let's see, what's the demo record one? This is correct right here. You're not supposed to grip the GP-25's nub grip like a foregrip while firing the host rifle. It's only there for firing the launcher. This was done right in unmodded Shadow of Chernobyl. And then it was done wrong in Clear Sky for no reason. And then it continued to be done wrong in Call of Pripyat for no reason. You only grasp the nub grip when firing the launcher. That's not enough grip to be used as a foregrip while firing the host rifle. Did the VOG-25 disappear? It only appears to have had disappeared. That's just a third-person representation, and that doesn't matter. Or rather, I mean, that's not relevant to my topic. What I'm getting at is why was it done right and then done wrong? The reason this irks me so much is because it's continuing, it has been continuously done wrong for more than a decade now. And people are still doing it wrong. And I don't understand that. And I don't want to see it done wrong in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Although I don't think it's going to be done wrong in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. I'm going to maintain confidence that it will be done right in S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. What I don't understand is why it was ever done wrong in the first place. If you do an image search on anything related to the GP-25, GP-30, or GP-34, you'll find a variety of different images, and pay close attention to the types of people who hold it right versus those who hold it wrong. You will notice consistently that Spetsnaz grenadiers, the people who do things right, never grasp that nub grip as if it was a foregrip for the host rifle. They only grasp that nub grip when firing the launcher. So this here is correct representation. Not necessarily the angle of aim with the quadrant sight, but that's a tangential topic that I've covered in the past. And as long as you're able, for stalker style gameplay, as long as you're able to aim a grenade launcher at all, that's typically good enough, even if it has only one setting for its sight. It doesn't necessarily matter what angle it's at, because the game actually calculates the distance for you. I would be totally cool with a mod that went more extensive with that, in the style of Project Reality, and made you able to really set your grenade launcher sight to different distances. But that's just something that history and or firearms nerds like myself appreciate. It's not obligatory or anything. Back to the topic at hand. See, the GP-25 is back. Why is it? It was done right before it was done wrong. That's what I need an explanation as to how that's possible. I can understand a thing being done wrong initially, and then going back over it and improving it, making it be more correct as the project progresses. What I don't understand is when it's the opposite. When it's done correctly initially, and then someone gets the brainwave to screw it up and do it wrong, and then someone else sees that, and for whatever reason they think that's better than doing it right. That's why I need an explanation. It's so bass-ackwards. I've never been able to understand it. It's been going on for more than a decade. And this is one reason why I haven't played any newer mods past Oblivion Lost 2010, because they all screw this up. Every single one of them. It's a monkey see, monkey doom sort of scenario. Of course, that's not the only reason why I need to upgrade my rig. That's another reason. But I'm not interested in playing any Stalker game or mod that misrepresents the GP-25 in this way. Also, I'm not a big fan of not being able to dodge pseudo-giant pseudo-stomps. I've never understood that either. That was done right in unmodded Shadow of Chernobyl. You could dodge a pseudo-stomp by jumping at just the right time, and then they screwed it up in Clear Sky for no reason, and left it that way in Call of Pripyat for no reason. And as with the GP-25, modders, some of them, or maybe even most of them, assume that the newer way of doing something is inherently better. In other cases, it's because it's a mod for Clear Sky or Call of Pripyat, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when you're starting from scratch and are able to use all materials available. And you choose incorrect representation instead of correct representation, or the lesser method of doing something instead of the correct method of doing something. There's no logical reason why a pseudo-stomp should damage you while you're in the air and not making contact with solid ground. Those vibrations are not going to travel through the air in such a fashion that it would damage you so severely. A pseudo-stomp is not going to act like an airburst. It's going to send vibrations through the ground and any walls that happen to be connected to the ground within the perimeter of effect until the vibration dissipates. It doesn't make pseudo-giants more challenging to battle either by taking away the ability to dodge a pseudo-stomp. It just means that you have to battle them in a more cheese-tastic fashion. Typically that involves standing way far away and wailing on them with 40 mils. Which is probably the way you would do it in real life if you encountered such a thing, IRL. But it's not sporting, and therefore not fun. It's a lot more sporting and more fun to battle them toe-to-toe. And for that to be viable, you have to be able to dodge their pseudo-stomps by jumping at just the right time. Well, I could continue to beat that dead horse. Is that a dead horse? It's been going on for more than a decade. I've never understood it. Not the pseudo-giant thing, but the proper versus improper way to grasp this. I don't understand this preference for doing things wrong. Do you think it's more stylish or something? The zone is not a place to value style over substance. In the zone, that gets you killed. Earlier I was talking about the types of people who grasp this correctly versus the types who grasp it incorrectly. I said that Spetsnaz grenadiers, the ones you want to emulate, grasp it correctly. They don't grasp that dinky nub grip like it's a foregrip while firing the host rifle. They only grasp that dinky nub grip while firing the launcher. You know what kind of doofuses do attempt to grasp that dinky nub grip like it's a foregrip while firing the host rifle? Half-assed conscripts of third world dictatorships. Now, which would you rather emulate? That which I just described, or a Spetsnaz grenadier? No contest, right? Especially, which would you rather emulate in the zone? Keep in mind that some of the people in the zone are former Spetsnaz. Well, I think I've ranted enough on that topic. What else did I want to talk about? Well, course, it's the wrong number of shells the first time, forcing me to add an extra step to what should be a simple procedure. That's not really what I wanted to talk about. Revolvers and double-barrel shotguns. What do you think of the idea of these types of guns having unlimited durability? They don't wear down the way more complex guns do. Do you think that's viable? Because after all, these types of guns lack the parts to jam. Didn't quite read all of that. Since I've got the Mad Max gun here, notice how you aim straight down the rib in Lost Alpha. That's so far the best representation of this. In unmodded Shadow of Chernobyl, you have it tilted just slightly upward. The muzzle's tilted just a little bit upward. Not too severely. Not enough to really make not enough to really make too much of a difference at an appropriate distance. Appropriate distance with this sort of weapon being an average room length distance. TOZ 66. Sawed off and trimmed down into a Mad Max gun. By the way, Mad Max used hammerless box lock in the first Mad Max movie. Might have been a Stevens, possibly a Model 311. I don't know for sure. By the way, that's what Bruce Campbell used in Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. It was a Stevens 311. I don't know if it was a C or an R variant, but it was probably I'm thinking a 311C or a 311R. I don't remember. They have different barrel lengths. And the one he had started out with 28-inch barrels. In Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Mad Max uses a rabbit ear side by side, like this one. Rabbit ear being American gun nut sling, old school American gun nut sling for a double barrel gun with double hammers. And even more specific than that, this is a rabbit ear side lock as opposed to a hammerless box lock. Designs for double barrel shotguns became simpler over time. Then again, having exposed hammers does have advantages and disadvantages. Disadvantage usually related to breakage. Advantage being, I don't know, possibly safety. Notice how this shotgun lacks the typical top tang safety, but you can cock and decock those hammers and half cock them. Not represented in game because it's not really necessary. By the way, that lever in between the hammers, that's a cam lever. You push that to the side to break it open. Most cam levers push to the right, which in my opinion is actually easier to do with the left thumb. Some can be pushed in either direction. But, well, man, I went off on a tangent there. What I was really getting at is this is yet another gun that was done right in unmodded Shadow of Chernobyl and then done wrong in Clear Sky for no reason. When you aim down the rib, you aim way over the rib with the muzzles tilted up. Like what you might expect to see in a game, an FPS game, well, from around the same era all the S.T.A.L.K.E.R games came out. For some reason, that was a popular faux pas that was going on back then. A fad, a terrible fad in video games. And keep in mind, video games get a lot of their bad ideas from movies, like permanently folded stocks that are left folded for no reason. But I just don't understand it. What this preference for doing things wrong instead of doing things right. Why would you aim a gun with the muzzle, or muzzles in this case, tilted up? And then there's the reload procedure. It's done correctly in unmodded Shadow of Chernobyl, also in Lost Alpha. And then it was done wrong in Clear Sky for no reason. It was left that way in Call of Pripyat for no reason. Never mind the hammers decocking themselves. That's not what I mean. Hammers are decocked. That lets you know that you need to load it. Those hammers are made to be thumbed back with the thumb. They're not made to be palmed back with the palm of the support hand. I guess someone thought that looks cooler, but actually try that in real life. You might be able to do it, but can you do it consistently? And can you do it under pressure? Because if you fumble that, you'll likely end up with a negligent discharge. You might end up blowing your foot off or something. Or shooting your buddy in their knee or something to that effect. So what I'm getting at is it's preferable to do things right. Don't go for style over substance, especially in the zone. As for revolvers, I'm not a big fan of that twirling stuff. It's unloaded. I unloaded it before I pulled it out. I guess, yeah, I can see trying to pull off some Johnny Ringo moves. Michael Biehn actually had to learn to do that. He learned to do that from an actual trick shooter while working on Tombstone. Yeah, my point is, no more cylinder spinning. That wasn't a cylinder spin right there. Oh, no more cylinder spinning and no more snapping the cylinder shut. Neither of those. No more of either of those. This is the year 2021. We're too far into the 21st century now for all these same mistakes to be continuing to be made. So no more snapping the cylinder shut. No more cylinder spinning. No more grasping this wrong. What else? No more perma-folded stocks. No more iron sights that don't line up right. These line up right. Did not mean to spawn 2 of them. These line up wrong. You're aiming over the peep instead of through it. This has been corrected in plenty of mods since, but this was done wrong in Shadow of Chernobyl, Clear Sky, and Call of Pripyat. Another example of something I can't comprehend. How was this not caught? 3 episodic games, and it was done wrong in each one. And that's another example of something that I need an explanation of. Why? Oblivion Lost, version 2.2, back in 2008. OLP team did it right. You aim through the peep instead of over it. And then there are all the games that came after 2007 that were like this, where you aim over the rear sight instead of through it, with the muzzle of your weapon pointed up for no reason. Borderlands 2 has lots of that. Iron sights that don't line up right, muzzles tilted up. And it has more of that than Borderlands 1. So that's another series where things that should have never existed became more prevalent as the saga continued. Again, I need someone to explain to me how and why that occurs, because that's the opposite of what should be occurring. Why is there this preference for doing things wrong? Why do you think it's cool to do things wrong? Oh, and I don't have a pump shotgun in my hands right now, but I don't really need one just to describe the idea. The way pump shotguns are represented in Anomaly for sure, and I wouldn't be surprised if this tendency also infested more recent versions of Lost Alpha. That you're constantly working the trombone gun like a greenhorn rookie noob. Like, your dude will hold it off to the side, cockeyed, just to cycle the action, or he'll reload wrong-handed, which is only acceptable if it's a noticeably front-heavy firearm. Only if the firearm is front-heavy does it ever make sense to reload wrong-handed. Wrong-handed meaning reloading with the shooting hand instead of the support hand. There's no reason to do that. So why? And that's not the way things were done in unmodded Shadow of Chernobyl. Nilashok did not get the loading procedure of the pump shotgun entirely correct, but it did a better job than everything that came later. With the unnecessary cocking. That's something else that's irksome. Like, say you're starting with a fully loaded gun, and you fire, and it holds, let's say, 8 rounds. You fire 2 rounds. You've got 1 in the chamber, you load 2 to top off the mag tube. You don't need to cycle the action again. If you did, then IRL, you'd be ejecting an unspent cartridge. But what do? In the game, you cycle the action again, just because it's been programmed into the reload procedure animation. Always, when you load the last shell, your character feels the need to cycle the action of that trombone gun, just like a Hollywood idiot. So knock it off with that malarkey. I reiterate, we are too far into the 21st century for these stupid rookie, not mistakes, I'm not going to call them mistakes. These this incompetence to still be going on. It can't be done anymore. This can't be allowed to be the status quo anymore. We have the power to make things be what we want them to be, what they ought to be. And we shouldn't want things to be wrong. We shouldn't value style over substance. Substance comes before style. Form follows function. I think I can conclude this rant. Should I actually end this with some action? I kind of feel like it. Yeah, and that's an issue I don't think they've ever addressed in any version, even later versions of Lost Alpha. It's enough of a pain that we only get this much space for both ammo and detectors and artifacts and whatnot. Later versions do give you more inventory spaces right here where you can put stuff in. But still, you only get this much space for ammo, and when you put it up there, it doesn't automatically assign the full number that goes in the space. It instead assigns the remainder. The remainder should go last. In this case, the remainder amount is 8, as I assume you noticed before. Remainder amount 12 for this caliber and 8 for this gauge. The remainder should go last, not first. Oh, last, not first. That reminds me. Something else about pump shotguns. If you don't feel like programming a proper chamber load, because that would require programming a more complex reload animation, then the next best thing is to have the procedure go like this. Your character loads one shell into the tube, then cycles the action, then loads the rest of the shells into the tube without cycling the action again. And yes, I do find it insulting that I need to specify that last part, but after witnessing what I have witnessed for the past more than a decade, I feel it necessary to specify that, even though it insults my intelligence and yours. So just don't do that anymore. No more incompetence. It's gone on too long. Muscular stalker adventurer. Ripped body you always wanted. There, see? I was able to dodge the pseudo-stomp like you're supposed to. This is a very conveniently sized monster destroyer, 44 Magnum revolver, plus it's kind of reminiscent of the Metro games. I guess I could conclude this here. Not really intended as an adventure video, just a rant. And all of my crits are legit. My rant is legit. I'm not naming names here. I'm not getting on anyone's case. That's not the point. The point is to see that things are done right from now on. Because when things are done wrong, it insults us. I quit watching The Walking Dead because of the repeated incompetence that just went on and on and on, leaving sights off of rifles. Two characters lost their right eyes, and yet they continued to shoot right-handed. And I'm pretty sure on more than one occasion I saw a firearm being wielded with its stock folded or collapsed. However, I will say that I do also recall seeing an AK-MS being wielded with its stock properly unfolded. So kudos on that. But Carol should not have been the one equipped with the AK-MS. It didn't fit her frame. She would have been better off with an AR-15, which they had available, especially one with an adjustable stock. Since being somewhat shorter than someone who would fit an AK-MS, it would be appropriate for her to have a shorter length of pull, which is something you can do as per standard with an AR-15 that has an adjustable stock, or any other rifle with an adjustable stock. And by the way, nowadays you can replace those trashy underfolded stocks on the AK-MS type rifles with more modern fixed or adjustable stocks. They no longer fold, but they're more ergonomic. Oh man, I could do a whole other rant on that topic, but I'm not going to do that at this juncture. I'm done now, I do believe. So, till next time, catch you on the flip side, and see you next mission, Zone Slabs.